Yeah, guys, what's up? Hope you are having an awesome day. And I am super excited for today's day three of the Book Your Dream Guest Challenge. I see like many people are jumping on live. Hey Laba, hey Ermegan, hey Jeffrey, hey Kavita. What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? Hey Kamala, what's up? How you guys going on? Like, welcome to Metaverse, guys. Yeah, welcome to Metaverse. Uh, in a day. Yesterday we were in Facebook. So yeah, we are in Metaverse now, which is crazy. And yeah, like how Google changed their parent company name to Alphabet. I don't know if it was Alphabet in the past or whatever. So yeah. Okay, I wish all of us can hang out together somewhere and talk about entrepreneurship, passion, and life. We have some plans later on. We might do it. So okay, so I'm super excited. Who's excited as well? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section down below. We're gonna talk about day three of the challenge, which is initially gonna be around the script and also how important is or like how you have to do the actual reach out to your potential dream guest and how you have to come out of your initial false belief of like they not replying, they not say yes to you, this and that. It's been done for me for my whole journey, but I've overcame that is the only reason why I was able to reach out to most of them uh, potentially successfully, and the reason why I was able to book them on the show. So that was it. I think I have to. Okay, I can see the jacket man. So okay, I think I have to change my name from RJ to Jacket Man Ahmed. Something like that. I could do that. I have to think about it. Okay, so that is gonna be the something that we're gonna talk about. One is the interview script in detail and talking about how the initial process works, and then on the other side, how you have to reach out to your potential dream guest. Uh, and that's the main thing. So I really hope you guys have done your homework. I saw a lot of people out there have done their homework out there with their shows. Some people didn't have their shows, but they created their initial podcast name and this and this. And the people who haven't done that, go do that if you actually want to uh, be accountable. Not only that, if you guys want to qualify for the scholarship for the signature program, the High Ticket Show Accelerator. So I hope this is going to be something that's going to be super powerful for you. Okay, so let's go to screen and let's start the stuff. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so let me see if everything is fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's recap for yesterday the things that we discussed yesterday in general, so that the people who are joining every single day for the challenge, they get to know like what happened in the past day. If you guys haven't watched the previous days of the challenge, just watch day one and day two if you joined today, so that you get to know like what are the things we are talking about, what were the homeworks, what are the accountability, and like how you can get the chance for getting the scholarship of the signature program. Okay, let's recap. So yesterday we talked about first thing, which was your show name, and for show name we talked about that show name you have to focus on creating a separate brand when you're thinking about any show name itself. Or the other option is on your personal name, which is something that I personally not recommend. Just because if you're creating it on your personal name, it's gonna be something that's gonna restrict you doing something else as well. If you want to sell your podcast or like exit from podcast space in any general way possible. Okay, so unless or until even if you are like Tony Robbins, but again, like for being Tony Robbins, it's something out there. He can't pull himself out because he's the only one who can do what he's doing. So that is also something important. That's why Facebook changed their name to Metaverse because now they can't do everything by having the name Facebook of their parent company. Okay, so your show purpose. We talked about the show purpose, that who are your dream guests, your main intent of the show, and we talked about your show tagline, which was I have like for me, my main show tagline was I have a show called Interviews with Entrepreneurs, where I interview entrepreneurs who are super awesome in their niches. And we talked about like what you need to do just in order to just replace these things. You have to replace the show name with your show name. You have to change your who. If it's like broad, like entrepreneurs are still pretty clear, and you can get different set of audience, and you're going to have a different set of conversation around that. Obviously, in the next day of the challenge tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to do these interviews and everything out there as well. But still, you have to be clear who your dream guest is. And also, you talk about your main intent. Like, what is your main intention? What is the criteria you have set it up for the type of guest you want to attract on your show? Okay, so I hope everything makes sense. Who is ready for day three? let's start with day three right now. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the show script in the first place. Okay, so if you ever been ever saw the interview, or I've talked about it a couple of times. My show script is the same that I used when I started out. The only thing that's been changed was optimization. I've added or removed some text or some words to it, but the things were the same, uh, because it was working. Okay, like think about it in this way: who changed things if that works? No one. It wasn't something like a done for you script or something out there that I gave up, and it is something that was working in the past for me, and now it's like I just want to hand it over because it was working in the past. It is not something with a past tense, because it is something that I still use every single day. Yesterday we interviewed Peter Peru on the show, which was awesome. That was the exact same script I used a couple of months back to book up Peter Peru. Now, so like this script works. The only thing I've done on these particular script was update it, tweak it, change it, optimize it so that it still works on the current scenario or what I find the best way to get a reply from them. That is something that I started to focus on. So we're gonna talk about all of those things absolutely right now. Okay, so let's go to screen and okay, okay, cool. So, so here's how the show script goes. Like I have a show called show name, which is gonna be your show name initially, whatever gonna be your show name. If you've done already the homework of day two, you already came up with your show name, or if you're open to suggestions, we might have like interactive with you, or like you guys are interactive with each other. So I have a show called show name. It's gonna be your show name itself, where I've interviewed targeted guests, and this is your who. Okay, this is like who are those people you're interviewing. Now we have interviewed targeted guests, and then you can talk about who are super awesome in the niches. This is something that is your main intent. Okay, for you, it's gonna be like, hey, I've interviewed fitness entrepreneur who are absolutely dominating in fitness market, or like fitness niche, or in supplements. So like who's super awesome in the niche? For me, it is my main intent. Okay, and then what I usually do is, if I have already interviewed some previous guest, so I'm gonna be naming them up in general so that people would feel like, hey, I have interviewed some people that they might know, for me to get a yes from them. Okay, so for me, I talk about like, hey, I've interviewed this guest. Now when we talk about naming your previous guest, one thing which is super important for you guys to understand is, when we talk about previous guest, it is all about having the due diligence mindset. So what I really meant by that is, think about, if you're trying to reach out to someone that you want to reach out, but you might know some of his friend, and you are really good connected with him, and you already had the conversation with the friend itself. What would be the best method to reach out to your potential person you were supposed to reach out? The best way to reach out is by having a reference. Okay, or talk about that person that could open that conversation with a guy out there as well for you. Okay, so that is important. That was something that I was doing all the time. So for example, if I am reaching so if I'm reaching out to Catherine Jones, that's an example actually. Okay, if I'm reaching out to Catherine Jones, I could be like, or McCall Jones, like they are like, it's Catherine is sister-in-law of McCall, like that's something out there. So okay, if I'm reaching out to McCall Jones, I could be like, hey, I'm using this exact same script. I'm gonna be like, hey, like I have a show called This Is This, where I interview entrepreneurs who are super awesome in niches. I've interviewed multiple guests like Catherine Jones, and then I could name some other people out there that McCall might know who they are, and she's well connected with them, and I can talk about them. Or if I don't have those well connected people out there, I could talk about the people who she might know, so that it opens the window for her, and it could be like, oh, okay, sure, why not? Let's do it. Or it could be any other response. So at the end of a day, what we need is a response. I'm going to talk about in detail for that 100%, but that's how you pick up names when you're trying to choose those people out there. And this is actually for someone out there uh, who already have those type of people out there who got them on the show. If some people out there who never got any guest on their show so far, that's still fine. You can use it something like, hey, I have a show called this where I interview a targeted guest with your show intent. Don't talk about any name. Just move ahead. I would love to have you on my show. Interview will be like 20 to 30 minutes. The reason why time constraint is important and you're giving them time, uh, because you're gonna be someone out there who's actually gonna make sure that you're giving them like how much time you actually need. You're super clear. You're clear in every single point, and they know what you're expecting from them, the time window, and everything out there. Okay, I can see like there's a comment like, what did you say on your first interview when you have no previous guests? So my very first interview was with Spencer for officially for my show. Otherwise, my very first general interview or very first live was with Alex Elliott. How I interviewed Alex. Alex at that time was a six-figure affiliate marketer. She sold over 100 plus one funnel away challenge or even more than at that particular time. That is something out there which is important for you to understand. So for me, when I booked Alex, it was general. It was just a general JV based interview. But for Spencer, when I reached out to Spencer, I was using this exact same script, and I was super clear that. And this script, I didn't knew it was working or not. I was just testing it out, and I was just using because it was my very first show. So I was just using it out. Okay, so I want to be transparent. So when I reached out to Spencer, I told him that it is my very first episode, and I want to have you as my very first guest, and I don't want to have anyone. So it was a time of around like funnel hacking live. He was like, "Hey, I would love to be on your show, but not now at this time. We're gonna do it later on." So that is something out there which is super powerful, which was crazy. He said yes, but he was like, not now, we're going to do it later. So what I actually did, I wait for probably a month or two, so that when the time of Traffic Secrets launch came up, I was like, hey Spencer, uh, I'm going to buy the trilogy box set from you, like give me 30 minutes of your time, and like we're going to do it. And like then Spencer reached out to me back again. He was like, hey man, I owe you this interview, here's my calendar, book me up. When I booked him up, he said one more thing. He was like, "Don't buy the box set if you had the intention of booking me up on the show." So that was the main thing. But I was like, man, I've already said that I'm gonna buy it from you. Now I'm gonna do it because I'm a man of my words. That's it. So I went there, I bought the trilogy box set, and that's it. So it wasn't about trilogy box set. It was about the commitment. Okay. If you guys know who Spencer Makeup is a multi seven-figure affiliate marketer. He made millions out of affiliate marketing. He don't need my $40 in order to make him life-changing time window. It was about being ethical and being committed. Okay, that is something that are important. Uh, okay, I just said you are on my email list. I want to have an interview with you. I'm gonna keep okay. Like anyone who wanna interview me, like for me, it's like I would love to be your guest. Okay, but as I mentioned, you guys, if you guys gonna be implementing everything that I'm talking about in this particular challenge until day 5, after day 5, I would love to be your guest. Okay, but use the script to reach out to me as well. That's the main thing because I want to see like how you gonna reach out to me as well. If and I want you guys to see how you do the interview by understanding everything out there that I'm talking about in this interview itself. Like how to do effective interviews. Obviously, we're gonna talk about that as well. So I want you guys like even like experiment on me so that I can get an idea about like how you actually did that everything. But that doesn't mean that you're not gonna reach out to other people. You're still gonna reach out to all of the people out there because that's gonna be something of today's task. Obviously, we're gonna talk about that as well. So that's the same thing. Reach out to me by using the particular script, 100%, edit it out. Name if you have an existing guest list, you think I might know, name those lists, name those guests out there. If you think I don't know some people out there or some people are not relatable to me, but I might know, that's cool. Use that. If no, there's a certain number of guests, that's cool. That still use it. If you don't have it, either list it down like, hey, this is my very first show. If you want to use it, what I really recommend is if that is your very first show, just don't call it as your very first show, at least when you're reaching out to your guest. Obviously, you're not portraying that, hey, you've already done a ton of episodes, a ton of shows, but it's better for you to do a general reach out. For me, it was like I was emotionally connected with that Spencer Makeup absolutely, because he changed so many things for me in general, especially in affiliate marketing, but also how to be ethical as well, which is super powerful for me. So I was emotionally connected. So I was kind of stubborn that hey, I don't want to be interviewing anyone else apart from Spencer Macon. So that was the main thing out there, that I was like stubborn, I was curious, I was like, hey, I'm not gonna go anywhere until I get Spencer Macon. If Spencer might say no, I don't think so I would have been like starting this, because I was waiting for Spencer and I wanted to have it, and I kind of like did justice later on after the 60th episode. I'm gonna talk about that later on the story, which was crazy. Okay, so let's go back. So this is the initial script. So you're talking about the time window. Like, I would love to have you on our show. Interview will be 20 to 30 minutes. So you're giving them every option to choose, and they're gonna be like, okay, this is my best option, I'm gonna pick on. And then the next thing that you're saying is, if you're good to go, send me your calendar link and I will book you up, or let me know who's the best person to make it happen. And the reason why I say these things out there is because uh, if you're good to go, send me your calendar. It's like sometimes those people who are even busy or who are making like multiple seven, eight figure in general, or even like nine figures, sometimes they have their own calendar. Or sometime on the other side, you send them the calendar once they say yes, and you're like, cool, here's my calendar. You can book up anytime. My time window is flexible, or they send you their calendar, or sometimes they don't even have the access of their calendar. They sometimes they don't have the ability to use their time because someone else from their team is choosing their time windows. So what you do is you give them every other option, like, hey, send me your calendar link and I will book you up, or let me know who is the best person to make it happen. So you're giving them every single option to make those things work out and get a response from them. What you need when you're reaching out to someone is a potential response. Any response is better. That is important for you guys to understand. Never take this on a pride of ego that, hey, I haven't got the response, or that person has said no. If you got a reply yes or no, that's better than getting no reply. Okay, I hope you guys get the point. It's better to get a yes or no rather than getting nothing. Like, no reply, just saw the message, bam, ghosting. That's it. You don't want ghosting. What you want is an initial reply. It could be a yes or it could be a no. Like, both of them works. Yeah, okay. I can see I got a not now from one of my Dream 100. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that not now as well, which is important. And I'm going to talk about that as well. So this is the exact same script after optimizing I've used to reach out to all of my guests. It was like every guest that I reach out, I just kind of optimized it, but this was the exact same script I used in order to reach out to all of them. Guys like Akbar Sheikh. Akbar Sheikh was my second guest. If you notice, like, there are going to be some tweaks because some of them were early reach out, some of them were late reach out, so it was like kind of like optimizing the script itself. But if you see kind of the flow is the same. Now it's not like super different. So it was Akushek, and then I reached out to Jim Edwards as well. He was like, cool, let's do it. The interview didn't happen just because I got Facebook slap. Okay, I got Meta slap now. So I got the Facebook slap. That was the reason why I wasn't able to do an interview. And there was a mistake that I actually did. I didn't book that interview on the calendar. It was oral timing. Like, Jim was like, hey, let's do this time. I was like, cool, let's make it happen. It wasn't on the calendar. Always book the interview on the calendar. Doesn't matter which calendar is it. Is it your calendar or is it your guest calendar out there? So always book the interview on the calendar out there, because if something goes wrong, you don't have the ability to do the sudden announcement to that particular guest that, hey, this is something that's been happening, because anything can go up apart from your email platforms. Okay, or the email thing out there. Most of the times, it can go faster than other social medias. So always book the interview on the calendar. Never make that mistake. If you're gonna do that up, it's gonna be crazy. Okay. Yeah, so Armagan had two questions. I have this in my mind. I'm gonna reply to the question as soon as I talk about it. Okay. Well, you had during your first show, once a seven-figure entrepreneur told me she will come to me with over 10K members. Okay, so when my very first show obviously was with Spencer. I think I had around 300 to 400 members at that time. One thing that you have to understand is not everyone, like, if someone says no to you, they have a certain requirement, and getting a requirement is okay. Getting a requirement than being complete no is better. Like, complete ghosting is better. If you get a yes, that's awesome. That's a win-win situation. If you get a no, You're asking them a certain condition or a requirement, like what is the best requirement in order to make those things work out. For example, in your case, if someone said like, uh, I'm gonna be coming up for 7K or 10K members or anything like that, okay, that's cool. Let that person be aside and just wait for other stuff. Or you ask them like, hey, I wanna interview you on my Facebook profile. I have high engaging people out there who engage all the time. I'm not doing it on a Facebook group right now. I'm kind of like diversifying on those platforms, and I'm also repurposing it. You're giving them multiple reasons for them to get yes. If they're still saying no, just wait until those target hits out, and then go back and reach out. If someone's gonna be giving me a target, let's say even Russell Brunson, if he's gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna be a 100th guest, I'm gonna be cool. You gave me a condition, so now I know there's an end goal in mind for that potential guest. That hey, if I'm gonna be a 100th episode, that person is gonna be my show. So with that particular aspect, I got reminded by a story. So there's actually one of my friends. I've been on his podcast. So when he started his podcast, he somehow got a chance to get in a call with Gary Vee. Okay, so he got a chance to get in a call with Gary Vee somehow. So what initially happened during that conversation, he said, "Hey Gary, I want you to be on my podcast," and he haven't started it yet. He had the plan to do it. So what Gary said to him, like, "Hey, if you do 54 episodes, I'm gonna be your 55th guest." So what happened in this? He actually reached out to Gary like in a virtual call. He was like, "Hey, I want you to have on my show." And what Gary did is he didn't said yes now, but he gave a condition. Okay, so that's something important. If someone said yes, that's cool. If someone says no, and they give a criteria, that still works rather than a ghosting. So Gary Vaynerchuk actually gave him the criteria like, hey, if you do 54 episodes, I'm gonna be your 55th guest. Like I got the opportunity to be out of those 54 guests, one of the guests. He's still working on. He's still like getting those people on and on, but he still know he gonna get Gary Vaynerchuk, like Gary Vaynerchuk, on the show on his 55th episode once he do 54 done initially. So now he got the condition. Now he got the criteria. So that's how things work out in terms of criteria and condition based booking up. Because now you know at the end of the day you have all of these things working out. You have all of these things done. So I hope it makes sense, you guys. It doesn't matter who that person initially is. What matter is what are the responses you're getting with that person. So like that's how I use for Jim, like for Jeffrey. Funnel Lock was my third or fourth interview, and for Neil and like so many other entrepreneurs that I got on the show. So what you need to make sure is when you're trying to reach out to your potential guest after with this particular script, you have to understand you have to create your presence first. You have to become someone rather than everyone. Okay, if that person at least have a bit of an idea who you are, doesn't know the whole personality that you have to follow, it's more easier for you to reach out to them and get an initial reply, get a yes, get a no, or in every way possible. Like I can say like it's way to make you work more and better. Yep, 100%. Okay, so let me get back to few of the question. Okay, like Armagan, he had a few questions. He said like you just hit them up with the script or do something prior to it. I make my presence. That is the exact same thing that I was talking about. Hey, this is the thing. I create my presence first, and I become someone rather than everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about also reach out only with email. I'm gonna talk about of that particular thing as well. There was other question out there as well. I think I got a not now. Yeah, so when you get a not now, like as I mentioned, from your dream 100, what you initially do is you ask for the criteria. That person gave you the criteria and you're like, cool, I know this person, I'm gonna book him out because he said that this is my criteria. So when I reached out to Steve Larson for the very first time, when I reached out to Steve Larson, her assistant said like, hey, you have to have these number of downloads, these number of views in order to book Steve. I was like, cool. What happened is it wasn't a no, it was a no with a criteria. Okay, so then I went back, I got some views with that certain criteria. I think it was like 50 to 100 views per episode or so. I took the screenshot, sent back to the assistant. That's how I booked Steve for the very first time on the show. Obviously, later on when I booked Steve, it wasn't like I booked Steve. It was her assistant reached out to me like, "Hey, Steve, wanna be on the show?" So that is something how it initially happened. This is something that you want. So You have to make sure your guest, when you're reaching out to your guests, to create your presence first, and you become someone rather than everyone. How you create your presence, that is the other question. How you create your presence. So the way you create your presence is, make sure to understand in which type of community they are, if they have their groups or not, if they have the certain level of people out there where they're hanging out with, which are the, or if they have their own social media. You have to understand which are those places where they are super active. Okay, where are those okay, how do you know whether you have to reach out to the person himself or their team? So that is why I use that particular script. So when I use that script, I'm making sure that that person give me an initial reply, or their team give me an initial reply. Where is the perfect place I should go for making this happen? Okay, so if even if I'm reaching out to their personal profile, or if their team is operating their profile, that's still fine, because I'm giving them every single option that could be a possible way for booking them up. I'm giving them option for them sending directly me the link. I'm giving them the option for sending me or routing me to the person who is the best fit for booking them up on the show. So that is something out there important for you to understand. So how you create your presence? You have to be omnipresent in every single platform, or somewhere where they're super active. So it's not important for you to kind of like build top level relation in order to book them up. What's most important is that they know you exist, they know your name, they can, they can get remembered, or like they can recognize you instantly when they saw you who you are. It's much easier to book them up rather than you be like no one in front of them and they're like, huh, okay. Because you have to understand there is a trust factor to it. They have to trust you, because if you're reaching out to them, you're booking them up, you get them on a live show, you could possibly mess up anything. And I'm not talking about in terms of messing up like how you're doing the interview, but what you ask on the interview. So it's important for them to putting out the trust on you. So that you have to be the trustworthy person. So by creating your presence, by creating that kind of a relation with them, you're becoming that trustworthy person that they can trust in general, and then they can go and everything out there. So okay, I'm there with most of my remote people are connected DM and also sending emails which they love. Yeah, that's the main thing, that is actually the main thing. So you actually create that presence. And the best part of that is when you create your presence in terms of social media, they see who you are, they remember who you are. I saw a lot of people out there who went to Funnel Hacking Live this year, and they are sending me photos, like they're sending me photos, and they're like, dude, this person you interviewed, this person is a Funnel Hacking Live speaker you interviewed. Like I met this person, like that was an awesome person out there who was on your show. Like you interviewed like John Lee Dumas and like Catherine Jones and McCall Jones, Myron Golden. Like I was like, yeah. And everyone was like sending me these images and these pictures and like these photos with them. I was like, oh my god, I have to be at Funnel Hacking Live next year. This is crazy. Because how they know who I was, because of the presence and the thing that I've done with them. I've done an interview. Now they can't get rid of my memory, that hey, there was a guy named RJ. That's the main thing. So become someone then rather than everyone. So you start to create those relations with them, or at least make your existence. Okay, are you flexible with timings of interview, or do you have a set days of time? I'm pretty flexible. I interview one interview per week. I haven't chose a day specific. That is the reason why I just do one per week. So that is why I actually, when I reach out to those people out there, and they gave me a calendar, or I send them the calendar. I let them know these days are already booked. Just move forward and choose the other set of days, and they're pretty good in doing that. So I'm flexible with the timings. I don't have a set day of timing, but I still do every single week. That's my main powerful goal with it. Okay, so I want to show you the some not rejections, but not now. Okay, so I reached out to Diwan Mura, and I'm showing you guys like literal my own screenshots. Okay, so that you guys get an idea about like, hey, what I'm talking about or what I preach or what I do is like what I preach. That's the main thing. So I reached out to Diwan like 13 April 2021. You could possibly see the date if it's a bit visible. It's like, hey, I use the exact same script. If you notice, the script is the same. Okay, so Devon reached out to me like, hey, like I'm busy. He reached out to me after probably like 11 days. So you need to make sure you are patient and you are calm. You are not desperate and you're not just focusing on one person at that time. If you're focusing on only one person and like waiting, you're never gonna book up your calendars with your dream guest for your show. So yeah, you're doing your own career. Yeah, 100%. So do you want to reach out to me? He was like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Crazy busy the next few weeks, but please follow with up with me as I'm happy to do the show. So he's ready to do the show. He just don't have time right now. So it was a yes, but not now. Okay, it's still been like from April. It's like October ending now. I think how many months it's been, like 6 months or seven? Yeah, 6 or 7 months. We still unable to book him up right now because then he was busy in doing different tours, and going into London and like get back to Funnel Hack Live as an MC. But he's still ready, but he's kind of busy, and I want to respect him. But he knows he's gonna be on my show, and I know he's gonna be. So I am calm. I know that he's gonna be on my show. So it's not about desperation, it's about calmness. Be calm. If someone said not now and they told you when, or if they said not now but they said yes, just wait for a perfect moment that when you're going to book them up. Okay, so this was something out there that still I haven't able to book out, but I knew it was a yes, but I haven't booked it up like straight away on the calendar right now, but I used the exact same script. Okay, so Jeffrey talked about this Josh 40 thing. I wanted to show you about the Josh 40 stuff. So I reached out to Josh. It was actually like one of my top 10. Now I'm talking about like my favorite top 10 interviews because I can't adjust my top 5 interviews that I've done. Like 70 interviews out of like. So, okay, I reached out to Josh probably last year around April. Okay, I reached out to him. I used the exact same script to reach out. I explained him like, hey, these are the type of people I've interviewed. I love to have you on my show for like 20 to 30 minutes. Not gonna take much time. If you're good to go, send me your calendar. I'll book you up. So over here, like I still was optimizing my script. So he reached out. He saw my message after June in November. Yeah, like July, August, September, October, like in 4 months. So after 4 months, he saw my message. I was like, crazy. And the reason why it took him so much time, even though he was in my friend list, to see the message, because his social media blew up like crazy. Like he got like super viral. One of his podcast video like got 1 million views. He got like he started to get like over 100 to 500 messages a day. So he wasn't able to see the message in order to reply. So he saw my message now. He was like, hey, I think you're doing an awesome job. I don't know where you are at your journey. I see you hustling. Give us the good work. So he was like, he's super busy and you don't have time to do the interview right now, but he was like, if you follow with me up in the beginning of the year, I was definitely going to make time to come on your show. He said yes, but not now. Think about it in this way, like yes but not now. Okay, so he gave me a criteria like, hey, reach out to me again. So I'm going to show you like the next reach out when I did. So if you see, I started to reach out to him again and again. I said him thank you. I was like, appreciate it, bro. I reached out to him on 4 January, like, hey, we were supposed to do an interview just to do follow up. And then I reached out to him on March, like, hey, bro, just wanted to do a follow up. I know your messenger is blown away. I'm kind of like doing constructive follow up. I'm not doing the follow up in a way like I owe him, like he owes me anything. No one owes you anything, but it's your job to kind of like positively remind them. It's the same case scenario on emails, but if you're doing on one platform, you can't rely on one platform. You can try to do it on another platform just to remind them because they already had the existing conversation. So you have the right to have an open conversation with them. Yeah, constructive follow up. Yeah. So you can do it on other social media as well. So I was doing that on Instagram as well. On any other, he was on my on with me with on LinkedIn. So I was doing that on LinkedIn as well. Then I reached out to him from January. Like think about it, on June, I sent him a message. On November, he replied me back. On January, I was doing follow up, and on March, then like after probably 2 months, and then on April, and on April again, a couple of days, because he interviewed Russell Brunson. I was like, hey, I just wanted to check out that if you're available on an interview. Then he actually replied to me. He was like, hey man, thank you for following up. Like he gave me the email, like, hey, email over here, request an interview, and it was one of her assistant and attached a screenshot of this message and have her schedule it. I was like, finally, he replied to me. I took that screenshot. I sent the message to her assistant. Was like, hey, Josh sent me. Josh told he want to be on my show. This is a screenshot. Just let me know which is the perfect time to make it happen. And when I booked Josh and we did the show. So most people don't see that thing. Most people realize it's like the guests are coming up, and yeah, that's true. Some people have came up to me again and again to be on my show, It's like some things require consistency. I've said that yesterday. It is kind of like simple, uh, but it's not like super complicated, but it is consistent. Okay, is it okay to be apologetic or shouldn't we? No, I don't think so. Like, why sorry to bother you or something like that? It's not something like, you can create a win-win situation for both people. You are like spreading their message even more, where it was actually. But on the other side, you don't need to be never degrade yourself. That's the important thing. If someone is making seven, I saw some people they interviewed like nine-figure entrepreneur, and they're degrading themselves in a live interview. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do? And that was something out there that was super frustrated for me when I saw in the initial first day. Like, it doesn't matter where that person is. You can learn a lot of things, but never degrade yourself. And the way that they're degrading themselves was, you're in nine-figure, in a million, small million. I'm like, dude, I'm not even in that million as well. I went to a nine-figure entrepreneur, but that doesn't mean I would degrade myself. So never degrade yourself in any way possible. Why be apologetic? Like, have you harassed them? Obviously that wasn't the case. You're not teasing them at all. You're just doing constructive follow-up because they haven't saw the message, and you're doing positive messages. You're reminding them. That was it. So don't degrade yourself at all. Understand your value. If you understand your value, they're gonna understand as well. So so that's how I was able to book Josh up, and that's how we were able to move forward. So keep doing constructive follow up until the response. Okay. So there's a typo to it as well. Okay. So keep doing constructive follow up until the response. So if you're not getting a reply regarding if it's email, regarding if it's Facebook, regarding if it's Instagram, if you're doing messages on Instagram, start to do message on Facebook as well, and start to do the message on email as well, by waiting for some moments and do constructive follow up. Keep doing that. So I booked up Canada Chichester as well after probably 1 year, and at this moment he's like keep rescheduling, but for me it's completely fine. I'm pretty flexible on my calendar. So, but still, I was doing constructive follow up, like, hey, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. And during that time, I started to interview some awesome people as well, guys like Law Payne, Umar Ilatter, like who he knows more and even more. So because Lopin is also in fitness niche. So he knew about him. He was also the 2CCC winner. He just got like $100 million award this year at Funnel Hacking Live. So yeah, like keep doing constructive follow up until the response. Once you get the response, it's gonna be yes or no. That's it, with the criteria. No ghosting, because ghosting goes away when you get a reply. Okay, so where do you reach out? As I mentioned, you can reach out personally on Facebook, on Instagram, on podcast. There's going to be some ways to actually go and reach out either through reviews or in general as well. Or you could possibly reach out to a referral. That is why I said about it in day one that referrals are super powerful. If you know someone out there that know that person down the road, you could ask that person like, hey, could you like do a quick introduction to that person of me. I would love to have him on the show. Sometimes that person says yes because if they trust you, if you already done effective interviews with them also, if you do the justice for an interview, we're going to talk about how to do effective interviews down the road in our challenges. But yeah, that's important. So you have to understand like there are so many ways to do the follow-ups. One of them are also referrals as well. So you could use the power of referrals. Just use those people out there. We mentioned the story of referral, like, hey, you could ask that person, who is that person who is as cooler than you or as smarter or as awesome as you, be the good fit. So you could be like, hey, do you know that person? Who's gonna be like, yeah. And he like, could you introduce me that person out there? I would love to have him on the show. So they could do it. They're like super fast thing for you to book them up. So like that's how you actually do those things. So I hope that makes sense. Yep. Never degrade yourself. Okay, so I want to give you guys that breaking the limiting belief is go for the big one, and it's absolutely okay. And the reason why I'm saying that is a lot of times most people. So I saw like I guess Jeffrey was he created a script around like, hey, I interview like three, four, five, six, and beyond, and I was like remove three, four at least bare minimum because you can go for a big people out there and it's gonna be okay. You can do that. There is not a problem to it. Okay, you can book big names on the show. So my goal right now is I've already interviewed nine-figure entrepreneur. My goal is to get a 10 one. And I'm working on that. I'm reaching out to some billionaires at the moment. Like, that's gonna 10-figure guest is a billion. like damn, which is crazy. So don't be like you don't deserve them. Okay, it's not like that. What you're trying to do is not only build the relation but have their voice in front of your people and also build that general audience as well. So this is something out there which is important for you guys to understand. Okay, go big. You can start small. That's not a problem. Just to get yourself practice out, but don't start small, but don't stay small. Okay, this is something out there. Okay, I'll even pay to watch Mark Cuban on your show. I might do something then. Okay, so yeah, like start small, but don't stay small. Okay, don't stay in that particular loop and be like, okay, I am good, I am in the comfort zone of getting these type of guests on my show, and that's gonna be like that's it, that's gonna be okay. Start small and go big. Okay, that is actually what I did. So when before the show, I started small. I was interviewing some six figure people, and when I actually launched my show, my first guest was a seven-figure person out there, like multiple seven figure, like Spencer, and then Akbar Sheikh, who was multiple seven figure entrepreneur, like the Funnel Dog, same thing, you know. And then I got like Steve Larson, now he's an eight-figure mark, like Shakir Hussain, like multiple eight figures, you know, Myron Golden, multiple eight figures, like think about it of the format. You know, I started small but I haven't stayed small. So a lot of people out there, uh, so many people out there start small but they stay small as well. So that is something out there that you want to restrain, because you have to think about the opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost for you not actually doing the things, not actually doing big things? Think about it all of those ways. You know, if you are not doing big things by starting small, you're not progressing at all. It's going straight line. So that is something that you have to understand initially. So go for the big one. That is absolutely okay. That's not a problem at all. You can do that. That's not a rocket science at all. So you have to start small, but go big. Okay, so as I mentioned, I reached out to Spencer Mayhem. You know, this is a photo of him in Funnel Hacking Live during the time when I reached out to him, and he was like, "Hey, you know, I'm in Funnel Hacking Live right now. We're gonna do it later on, not now." And he got this award. Wasn't his first one. It was his like multiple, like second or third. And then he got a guitar to for making over $1 million in ClickFunnels affiliate commissions, which was awesome. You know, customized guitar from ClickFunnels. This year, I guess Peng Joon and John Lee Dumas was two guys who got the guitar from making over $1 million in affiliate commissions with ClickFunnels. Uh, and said like just start and you will realize how fast the growth will be. Yep, 100%. That is the main thing. Froze like sorry for super late. That's okay. That's fine. You could like watch this one and catch up and like watch it from the start beginning. That's okay. So yeah, like just start and you will realize how fast the growth lies. I never thought about honestly that I'm gonna be here. I'm not talking about in terms of like you know who I am, but I'm talking about in terms of my personal growth. I never thought about that. I will gonna be making these things work out for me, or I will ever gonna be interviewing those people that I admired the most when I started. So I never thought about it's gonna be happening. I always thought about I wish I'm gonna make that thing work out. No, but when I did, it was life changing. And as I mentioned in my day first, in my introductory conversation, like I got the opportunity to speak alongside Peng Joon in the same room. Like think about it, you know, it was crazy. In a click funnels event, you know, I was like bam, you know, now the only thing left is speaking at Funnel Hacking Live, you know. So who knows, that can happen. So yeah, my first guest was Spencer Mayhem. So now you have to understand only one thing in order to reach out to your guest and either get a yes or no rather than ghosting. And like if you get ghosting, you could do a potential follow-up with them. The biggest thing you have to understand is every person that you thought about getting on your show are at the end of the day humans. And I want to repeat that as well. Okay, the biggest thing you have to understand is that every person that you thought about getting on your show are at the end of the day humans. Okay, and the reason I'm saying that again and again is because when you're watching people out there who are making multiple seven figures, and it's not a rocket science, but if you see multiple seven and eight figure, nine figure people out there, for some people the perception change. They feel like they are out of the world, okay, and they feel like they're not humans. But at the end of the day, to the core, they're still humans. They want that humanly based connections. They want humanly based conversations. They get frustrated if they get the usual general replies, that are not good, that are not positive. They are humans. That is one of the reason why they have the liking disliking factor as well. It's not your fault at all. It's not theirs as well, because at the end of the day, humans, they don't have superpowers. They are not someone out there who's gonna liking everyone, or like unliking everyone out there just because they are making a lot of money or they are making millions. So if you calm down, if you start to understand like every person that you want to reach out, or like for me, that's what I do every single time. Or even when I started to understand this mindset, yeah, I mean, said you feel like you can't talk to them. Yeah, 100%. That's the main thing. I don't know when to be Spider-Man anyway, but yeah, inside of that Spider-Man suit, there is a human. So yeah, like that's the main thing. You feel like you can't talk to them. You feel like you don't owe, you don't deserve them. But at the end of the day, what talking with, you're talking with a person, you're talking with a human who had a success. Okay, not talking with a millionaire, you're talking with a human who got and achieved what you want to achieve. That is where we talked about in the day one, like who is your dream guest. Okay, so you have to have a humanly based mindset around those people when you're trying to reach out, when you're doing constructive follow-up, when you're talking with them. At the end of the day, you're humans. That is why when you're doing interviews, you do interviews in such a way that they love the experience. Well, if they don't felt it, if they don't feel quite good, what initially gonna happen is they're gonna be like, that was almost the same how other interviews went. I'm not gonna possibly talk with a person out there because I didn't felt good. Damn, you're human. That they are human as well. You can get rid of their world fast, just like every other person in general. If you don't feel like comfortably with other people out there, they're gonna be like, I don't feel comfortable with that people. I might not talk with that person out there. That is common human nature. That is something that what they do as well. And then most people are like, I'm not getting a reply. Oh, now they're not responding to me. Oh, they're not even reacting with me. They're unfriending me. They block me. This is how it happens because they are humans. They have human stress. They have human psychology, human emotions. So you have to understand that in order to reach out to anything. Yep. At the end, it's just an image we create about them in our mind, and at the end, it's just an image. They have been created, in their mind by us. So we create our image in their minds as well. Same case for us. So that is something that is important. They also eat. Okay, they also drink. They also sleep. So they are humans. Okay, because this is how they want to get entertained rather than something out of the world fancy. Okay, they're humans. What make us entrepreneurs? We entrepreneurs are still different than most of the people out there, and I think there was, I don't know the stat was quite correct or not. There were over 400 million entrepreneurs out of like 8 billion or like 7.5 something billion people. That's not even 1%. Okay, or think it is. I don't know, maybe. Yep, I don't know, but yeah, like the less population are in general of entrepreneurs initially. Out of all of those people out there who are poor, rich, in job, doing 9 to 5, and these type of things out there, that is something out there. Entrepreneurs are less, and it is a small world for entrepreneurs. They would love to be connected with you, okay, but still they're humans. So don't do out of the world fancy stuff. They want to get entertained in a humanly way possible. And I repeat, humans, not robots or out of the world species. Okay, so that is gonna be your day third of your homework. What you need to do is you have to finalize. So when I'm gonna give you guys the homework, I'm gonna list down the script in the top, in the post above. I don't remember, like post text or whatever it is, caption. Yeah, on the caption. Okay, I'm gonna post up the script. Just copy that script, customize that according to your show, your dream guest and your main show intent. Create your show script and reach out to your one of your dream guests. Okay, on the second one, it doesn't count if you reach out to me for this homework. Reach out to me with a script that works, but reach out to someone that you possibly think should be part of your show. Okay, or like multiple people, that is also awesome. So reach out to your 3 to 5 guests potentially with the exact same script. Reach out to all of those people and like uh, take a screenshot and put that up in a homework. I hope the homework is clear. Okay, finalize your interview script, post it up in the comment section for the homework, and then reach out to your potential dream guest with the script and screenshot that reaching out and like post it up in the comment section down below as well, so we can see like, hey, you have reached out to one of your potential dream guests. Who knows? after you reach out to them, they either give you a yes or a no or a condition, or they might ghost you. So that is something out there that you have to do. So that's end of day three. Let me know if you guys have any other questions in your mind. Mhm. Okay. Yep. So, yep, very clear. Awesome for this realization. Crystal, I prepare the interview cover and logo. I need to confirm with my dream guest. Yep. Confirm your dream guest ASAP. Do the homeworks with this, because obviously when we're gonna end the challenge, we're gonna archive the group as well after ending the challenge in a couple of days. So yeah, so now what you need to do is just create the interview script. Just optimize it. It's not super hard. This is the exact same script I still use every single week for reaching out, because I reach out to multiple guests at a time. So in order to maintain my consistency, I was consistent for 52 weeks, and then I took a break for a week or two, and then I was still consistent. We have done like 71st or 72nd interview yesterday, but yeah, just reach out to just have that interview script, and then like go back and like use that particular interview script initially to reach out to your potential guest, take a screenshot and send that over in the comment section of the homework. So if you guys have any question, just post it up in the comment section down below, and let's talk about those questions. Okay, let's see if there are some questions. Mhm. Okay, I can see. I don't. How many days do we need to need in order in head of the time of interview to announce? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, let me answer it. Okay, so how do you remember who you are? How many days do we need in head of the time of interview to announce? Okay, so it's better to announce for the interview in terms of the group or your community like 1 to 2 days prior. Okay, you could even do 3 days. You can stay at momentum of like, hey, the interview is about to come up and everything out there. But yeah, like in general, like 2 days is a really good time window, or even a day is a pretty good time window as well. So a day or two is really good. Okay, I can say like, how do you track them? So in the initial start, I was tracking them on Google Sheet 100%. uh, and obviously they're booking up on the calendar, so I know like who I booked it up. But in terms of like reaching out and stay in the mode that, hey, who have replied, who have not, I'm using CRMs actually. uh, there's a tool that I use which is Super FP Tools or Super Suite Partners. That is actually CRM that I use personally. So I tag them up like, these type of people out there I've reached out. These type of people I've already interviewed on the show. These are the type of people I'm doing a follow up right now. So like this is actually what I use. Or you could use the good old Google Sheet. Okay, you could use that as well. So yeah, that's how I remember like who I've reached out, who I've done the interview. Obviously, if I've interviewed someone, then obviously I know who that person was. Yep, I use CRM as well. Yep, 100%. I use CRM as well. So yeah, any other question you guys have for today's session? What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna go to the homework section, and I'm gonna post that homework after this live as soon as it ends, so that you can start doing the homework. And again, guys, just a reminder: you have to do all of the homeworks after the end of the challenge. Like as soon as the fifth day ends, you have to be finishing up your homework out there, so that we announce the winner for the scholarship for the signature program, the Horticulture Accelerator. Okay, so yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. We're gonna stick for a minute or so, and then we're probably gonna end this up. So you guys go back, do your stuff, reach out to potential guests. Who knows? In a day or so, you book your one of your first dream guests or your next dream guest. You know, it happened. I got a lot of students out there who use this exact same script, use this exact same method for the very first time possible, and was able to book their dream guest on the show, which was like mind blowing. I was like, dude, like this is crazy, crazy. So yeah, okay. So I don't think so there's any other question right now at the moment. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for hopping on for today's session. Tomorrow we're gonna be talking about something that is gonna be crazy. Obviously, because they are all of them are steps. So we're gonna talk about all in the next 2 days. We're also gonna be talking about how to do effective interviews and how to stay in the momentum of doing those shows consistently. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for hopping on today, and I'm definitely gonna see you guys tomorrow for the next day. Bye bye.